And he's going to go ahead and
going
stick
with
it.
it.
He really needs Austin to have a draw. Austin doesn't.
And what does Marty do?
Marty?
Oh, Marty already called.
Wow. Marty gets it in that. That's a tough spot for Marty. Like, Hank often has Marty destroyed.
Austin is in such good shape for this huge pot.
70% of the time he wins 4.4K.
How is he in such good shape?
Consult your doctor before starting your exercise regimen.
It's crazy. With
That is not a... Oh, yeah, it is.
just an ace, and no ace comes, and it's... Wow. Austin is a happy man now.
Wow.
What a great pot for Austin.
Humongous.
You know you made it when you got to play on the Poker Guys show. What do you say, Neil? Everyone's a critic. I enjoyed my time on the show. It was a really cool experience and my first time playing on camera. It's actually a little more awkward being on my own camera than that whole setup. I guess because it's a professional one. And then I didn't have to do anything. I know Andrew Neamey's going to be on the show soon, so good luck, man. I think you're going to find all the action you could ask for. And you may even want to move to Portland after it. That hand that you guys just saw was a pivotal one for my stack, but it played pretty straightforwardly. I'm going to show you a couple more hands from the show via YouTube. So let's do it. So not to give anything away too early, but this hand is just does not even go to the flop. But a few interesting things happen. I open under the gun with King Jack suited. Pretty standard. And a guy 2 to my left 3-bets me to 85. Really small 3-bet. And this brings in 2 flatters behind him, which in this type of game, this game is very loose. So I'm not going to respect these flats behind the 3-better. Mainly because the 3-bet was so small, so it's going to bring in a lot of hands. We're pretty deep too, so it makes sense. I open under the gun, so I want to be able to represent strong hands like aces, kings, queens, ace-king. I have blockers to kings and ace-king, so I'm going to try to either thin the field or just take down the pot pre-flop and 4-bet to 305. I think it's good enough sizing to get the job done. Pocket tens folds immediately. Hank here, he's more of a sticky player and does not like to fold, so he's gonna think about it here for a minute, even though this should be a snap fold. But he eventually lets it go. Now Snuggy here with pocket sixes apparently has a decision to make. He asked me to move my hands to see my stack, ponders for a minute, and to my surprise just puts it all in. Pretty suicidal play. A lot of times I just snap him off with aces or kings and he's drawing super thin. But he picked the right time. I had the king high, and I'm thinking about it for a minute here because I know that I'm flipping, but all in all, I just don't want to flip against this guy if he's going to make monumental mistakes like this against me. So this is just a spot that I think I need to pass and swallow my pride a little bit and just let it go. Very unfortunate, but that's what you do. You have to pass on spots like these to capitalize on bigger spots later on. In this hand, we have King Jack again in the big blind. Hank raises from the hijack. He gets one caller behind him, and I'm going to defend here. We see a flop of Queen 10-5 with 2 hearts. I'm going to check to the better, just play in flow. It's good to flop an open ender, but checking is the best option at this point. Hank continues here. He bets 85 into 155. Snuggy behind him has an easy decision and lets it go. Gets back to me, and obviously I'm not going anywhere. I could raise here, but I think flatting is fine too. So I'm going to go ahead and flat and evaluate the turn. Turn comes at 8 of spades, and I check to Hank again. I expect Hank to be checking back a majority of the time, but instead, Hank decides to bet 110. Now he bets 85 on the flop and then 110 on the turn. That's really small. I could check raise here because I feel like this is a weak continuation, and frankly, this turn hits my range pretty well. But I'm just going to flat and represent a wider range. River is the queen of hearts, and I start thinking about what hands Hank might be putting me on, and you know, I could get here easily with trips or plenty of flushes. So I think that's a scary card for him, and I feel like Hank's going to check back a majority of the time. So I'm going to lead here for about 3/4 of the pot. I bet 360. And it just looks super strong. I think this is a profitable play. Hank thinks about it for a while, and the only problem I have with this bet is this particular opponent. Hank is a sticky player and likes to call off pretty light. So pretty dangerous move on my part here, but he does decide to let it go. He shows the 10, and we scoop a nice pot. I think we got time for one more hand, so I'm going to throw this one in here. This is a multi-way pot, and I defended my small blind with 8-5 of diamonds. We get a 6-deuce ace flop with 2 diamonds, so I flop the flush draw. Check to Marty, which has been a maniac this whole time. He bets 100. I call, and everyone else folds. The interesting part of this hand comes on the river and really demonstrates how good this game is. I turn the flush, check to Marty, and he just checks back immediately. River's a 3, and I'm going to go for some value here. This opponent is another sticky one that tends to call off light, so I'm comfortable betting half pot. I bet 220, and Marty thinks about it for a while. I'm putting him on an ace here all day. Little did I know he had second pair. Now, in Portland, apparently you can turn cards over heads up, and Marty decides to take advantage of this little clause, and I think he's trying to get a read off of me.
Showing it.
You're allowed to do that.
Oh, and you see that? Austin's like, hey, nice hand.
I like that. Austin's got a lot of little things going on. I like it.
Oh, he
and
calls.
there's the call. I think that knock may have actually worked.
It might.
So I think Marty had an on-the-fence decision, which he shouldn't have, but that little knock that I gave him to kind of act strong, because some players think that strong means weak, and I had been bluffing previously in the session. He had seen that, so I wanted to give him what he needed to push his decision over the edge for a call, and I think it worked. It felt a little awkward speaking my thought process about these hands, but I should be doing this on the reg as a professional, so practice makes perfect. Also, Andrew Nemi and Jeff Gross are going to give me some tips down the road, so look forward to that. Hope you enjoyed the episode. We'll see you next week when I interview a person that's accompanied me on my poker journey. We'll see you next time.